Today's project is an old yard sale dresser that we're going to give a vintage look to. First thing we need to do is remove all of our drawers. Then we're going to take the hardware off the drawers. Make sure you put all the hardware in one spot so you don't lose any of the pieces. We're going to sand everything down and give it a nice new finish. So let's take a closer look at the dresser and what it's made of. All pieces of furniture are made out of different materials. Our piece is made out of hardwoods and veneer. The top, the trim, and the front stiles are all hardwood, and it'll be easy to remove the stain from. The sides are a little more difficult because they're a veneer, which is a piece of MDF with a thin layer of wood on top. The danger here is sanding too much and going through the top veneer. So let's get started on taking all the old finish off. Like I said before, our drawer fronts are made out of solid wood, which means we can just sand the finish right off of them and not have to worry about damaging anything. The way we're going to do that is with a belt sander and 120 grit sandpaper. After we're done with the belt sander, we're going to move on to the orbital sander, which has a 220 grit sandpaper that we can take off the rest of the finish with. Now, one thing to remember when you're sanding is always sand with your grain or you're going to end up scratching the piece you're working on. Now let's go take care of that veneer with some of the stripper. Because we don't want to damage our veneer with sanding, we're going to use a stripping solution to take the finish off. You want to shake it well, put a little bit into an empty coffee can. Now make sure you wear your protective gloves and eyewear. You're going to take your brush and brush it onto your piece. Now be liberal with it, and after you get it done, you're going to let it sit for 30 minutes. Now that you've given the stripper solution 30 minutes to set in, you're going to take a plastic putty knife and start scraping the old finish off. If it doesn't come off fairly easy, add another coat of anti-strip and let it sit in. Once you've scraped off as much of the old finish as you can with your scraper, you're going to want to clean it off, let it dry, and go at it with your orbital sander. Now remember, you've got to be light on your touch with the orbital sander because you will burn the veneer. Now we're moving on to distressing our piece. To do that, we've used a couple of different types of tools to simulate cracks and wormholes. Then we put the stain on it, it's going to fill in those cracks and wormholes and make it look like they're real and antiqued. After 2 coats of stain and a coat of wax, we're done with our dresser. We're going to see you next time here in the workshop.